Turning 60 is a milestone for many and can inspire reflection and celebration from the ups and downs of life.
In his latest book, 60 for 60, author and motivational speaker Danny Bader does just that, living on his 6 decades of learning and inspiring. Once again, Danny is back on our couch with some wisdom of what he's learned. I know you wrote that about a year ago, Danny. You're about 61 now.
Yep.
But 60 is a big milestone, and you do really start to hit a reflection point.
Yes. Yeah, it certainly was. And I did a social media post with 60 things that I have found that bring me joy or are true. And our son Joey, our middle son, said, you know, Dad, that should be a book. And he kind of stayed on me, and sure enough, we got together, and we had his friend Claire, who I've known since she was 4 or 5 years old. She did all the illustrations. So it's kind of a fun kind of picture coffee table book that gets a lot of conversation with people.
And you've been on the show before, but for those who haven't seen you or seen you on Miami Vice in the 80s, you are Don Johnson to me. You had a workplace tragedy when you were 28 years old. You were doing roofing work. 8,000 volts of electricity went into you and your colleague. You lost your colleague and your friend. You were clinically dead for 6 minutes. You came back to life, and that really changed your entire perspective. And you've really dedicated your life to inspiring and motivating other people.
Yeah, it really did. People say, you know, what did you learn out of that accident? How did you grow? And I think it really comes down to this. There's a hell of a difference between just living and going through the motions and being really fully alive and engaged and having that radical reverence for your life.
And you do have to work at this. We were talking during break about this is an active choice that you can make in your life, no matter what you are facing at the time. And everything is going to have an ebb and a flow. But you have some critical steps, like some concrete steps that people can follow along with you on this journey.
Yeah, I think you have to be intentional, right? Because as we talked about, life can kind of just lull you into that, you know, that routine, and sometimes it's not a healthy routine. So yeah, there are some things, you know, that I write about in my first book, Back to Life, with the Back to Life Blueprint. And I think for people that get stuck, there's a few things. Number one, you have to be aware that you're stuck, and that's okay. What's not okay is staying there. So a couple things you can do is really start to see the other side of where you are, right? Vision, the ability to imagine what needs to be real. It's so good in sports and business, and a lot of times it's not practiced daily for people. So when they say to me, oh my gosh, this is not good right now, I'm like, yeah, it's not. What's it going to be like when it is? And they go, and then you just start to see the other side. And then growth happens really in connection. It doesn't happen in isolation. So a lot of people there, that, you know, they're sad, they're tired, you know, maybe they're embarrassed or whatever, but you really have to connect. And you got to connect with your people, you got to connect with your faith, and more importantly, you got to connect with that spirit inside of you. You know, because you have your heart, brain, and lungs. They help your body go, and it's really the spirit. And it only wants what's best for you. It's the fourth energy.
You know, and you have some 3 levels of life and work, finishing the year strong, and you just kind of touched on it. But the first one is rock bottom, and that's kind of like that disconnection, that fear, and recognizing that that's kind of where you're at in terms of those aspects. Yeah,
rock bottom is that place where there is a disconnect from the possibilities of life, the potential, the beauty of life, and there's disconnect from your spirit. I always say it's a place like the valley of the victim. We get there, and it's all blame, and it's everybody else's fault. And we just, you know, the walls are steep, the mud's deep, we can't get any traction. So, you know, the awareness that you're there is okay. We all get there. You know, the key is don't stay there. And that's some of those things I talked about that are going to help to move you out of that.
That second level is functional fog, and you say this is where most people operate sometimes.
Yeah, you know, it's interesting, the functional fog. You've talked to people, and they say, oh, I'm just kind of in a fog, I'm in a bit of a funk. But we function in life, and the days go to weeks, to years, to months. It just flies by. So you really have to have that awareness that, you know, when I'm here, there's a little bit of awareness, there's a little bit of mindfulness, but the speed of life and the daily grind and the white noise, it just kind of goes. I saw a study once that said employees, 67% of the people said they're just kind of going through the motions. And I thought, if you're the leader and you got 6 or 7 people on your team going through the motions, you know, they're showing up on Monday, focused on Friday, that's not a good thing.
Yeah, it's a big change.
And I also would say to those people, if you're 40, 50 hours your week, you're just going through the motions. You know, I've been dead once, so I have a little permission to say, come on, man, there's more to life.
You're missing out.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that radical reverence, you know, that's kind of like your philosophy, that's your catchphrase, I'll say, and that's honoring all life, struggles and joys, everything in between, and It is an active thing. Like I said, we've had other people come on with the same ethos, and you really have to make a conscious effort to get there. But once you're there, it's a whole new world.
Oh, it's just amazing when you wake up with that joy. And it's not that there's not negativity there. This is not, you know, some people, we've probably been around them, they just drive us crazy because they're so freaking happy all the time. But it's like that fake happiness, you know? This is not that. It's just that joy where you appreciate what you have and you embrace the struggles because you're going to grow through that. There's a lot of passion and there's negativity there as well. It's just that you're not at the mercy of it. That's the key. And I think that's where we all want to be. Teams, organizations, school districts. You know, you want to get to that place where you're just showing up a lot of passion, a lot of purpose, a lot of presence, a lot of resilience, you know, a lot of love for yourself and a lot of love for life and others.
Well, Danny, thank you. We have a lot of love for you when you come on the couch. You can get more information at DannyBader.com. You do a lot of motivational speaking with a lot of Fortune 500 companies. You're all over the place.
Yep.
You can check out your books. So thank you so much, sir.
Oh, it's always a pleasure to be both of you.
Dan.
Thanks, Bo. Thanks, Karen.
All right, we'll be back.